Your issue is not a lack of discipline, it's rumination. So recently, I had this huge epiphany in my life a few days ago, and it's just completely changed the trajectory of where I'm going with everything, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. And it really was just life-changing to wake up to this and just bring my head above water. So I was completely addicted to overthinking and rumination. What do I mean by that? Where I would derive my dopamine from was thinking or ruminating over problems or constantly trying to figure things out in my mind and sit down and plan things out. And in the end, I never got anything done, right? And I think a lot of you might be in this same spot, and that's kind of why I'm trying to make this video, is just to make you guys aware, because for the longest time, I mean, for many years, I can look back on how many years I wasted. I just wasn't aware of this, right? So I just want to put this out there to make you guys aware. But a lot of us, it's really your addiction to thinking is what's holding you back. And so many of us, we do a little bit of work and it feels like a grind a little bit, and then we go sit down to take a break. And what that break looks like is the key piece to all of this. That break for a lot of people is thinking about problems or scrolling on their phone, thinking some more, talking to people about their issues, trying to plan the perfect way to go about life, trying to go over decisions that you need to make in your mind and like pick the perfect path. And it's really an addiction, right? Many times you're not going to have that answer, and you need to just make a decision right away. And if there's one thing that I want to get across to you guys in this video, is that speed to decision is crucial. The speed to decision needs to be as fast as possible. Most of these decisions in your life do not move the needle at all. They don't. So instead of being addicted to thinking, we want to redirect that and change where we get our dopamine from. And what it really looks like is taking action, completion of that action, and then doing that until we see real progress, and then actual recovery. And the recovery is a huge piece. Like I said, when I would sit down after doing a little bit of work, I would start scrolling on my phone or thinking about other problems in my life, and that wasn't a real break. I was getting dopamine from that because I was constantly, ruminating over things, and that pathway was just being strengthened in my mind. So it almost felt like I was doing productive work by sitting there and thinking, when in the end, most productive work actually requires you moving your body or speaking to people or doing productive things and taking those actions. There was many years in my life where I would just constantly overthink. I mean, if I lost someone, I would just constantly think about grief, think about memories with them over and over and over, to the point where I would think about them for a year, 2 years, constantly going over my problems in my head. If anything happened like at the bar or the club the night before, maybe I said something weird to someone, maybe someone gave me a weird reaction at work or something like that, I'd constantly be going over it in my mind, like how could I have handled that differently? Where did I go wrong? Where did they go wrong? Constantly thinking about it. And in the end, it's like, dude, nothing got done. Literally nothing got done. And it's crazy because I read this quote on Instagram yesterday, and it said, "The magic you're looking for is in the work you need to do." So many of us are just constantly looking for this answer, like what's going to get us to that next level, what's going to figure out, or what's going to be the key to get us out of these problems that we're dealing with. And most of the time you're not going to know until you go down the path. Like, you pick a path, choose which way to go, and just do the work. And honestly, you're going to start failing so many times that it doesn't even really matter which path you choose. What matters is that you start building these habits and getting the work done and being consistent with it. Because the more you learn, you're going to start correcting course along the way. So just start, you know? And yeah, so it's crazy how, like, I didn't know this for the longest period of time. Like, for so many years, I mean, I'm 29 right now. I wasted so much time just ruminating, constantly thinking, like, which way should I go? What should I do? I don't want to mess up. I want to do this the right way. You know, constantly, like, in fear of, like, is this the right decision? Stuff like that. And it was holding me back so much. Most of those decisions, not only do I not even remember what they were, but they just did not move the needle at all. Right? Yeah, it's crazy how much time I spent thinking about them. And now, after realizing it, I get to my decisions so much faster. Like, most of the time, we're not going to know what the answer is to our problems. We're not going to know what we need to do months from now, years from now, most of the time, right? If you know, then more power to you. But many times you're not going to know. But every single one of us knows exactly what we need to do right now. Every single one of us knows that. We all know we need to get good sleep. We all know we need to work out. We all know we need to eat healthy. And those are just 3 things. There's other work that you know that you need to do within whatever goals you're trying to achieve. And there's work that you know that you need to get done. So just start there. Get that done and keep moving. The answers will come as you go. You'll correct course and you'll keep moving that way. And the key thing is catching yourself when you start to get back in that looping mode in your mind. Like, okay, you did a little bit of work, now you're feeling a little exhausted, so you go sit down on the couch. That's where you need to catch yourself, okay? The key is catching yourself in that moment, or like when you actually start to ruminate, and ask yourself, am I looping right now, or am I actually being productive? Okay? There's going to be times where you have to actually sit and think about a problem in your life and try to figure it out, and that's okay. That's normal. Sit and try to figure that out. But if you get to the point where you can't figure it out and you're constantly looping over the same things in your mind, that's when you need to become aware and catch yourself and just go do something else, right? Because so many of us, we just continue to loop on that because it just gives us that hit of dopamine, but because we're trying to figure something out and it feels like we're getting something done and it feels productive, but in the end, you're moving nowhere. You're completely stagnant. And staying static like that is the enemy, guys. It's the enemy. It's okay to be static for a little bit until you come to a decision, but use the data that you have at your disposal to make the best educated decision that you can, and then go. And then act on it. Just do it. And then correct course along the way. If you messed up, you'll learn quickly and you'll go the other way, right? And it really comes down to, like, no matter which path you take, there's always going to be, like, if you think about the other path, you're going to regret not taking that path. You can always think that way. There's always thinking about the opportunity cost of what could have been if you went the other way, stuff like that. But in the end, both paths, you got to do the work, right? The work has to get done. So the number one rule is catching yourself in those loops, recognizing that you're ruminating and you're not building anything or doing anything productive, and then redirecting that energy into work or doing something productive. And do this so many times that it starts to become a habit that the work actually gives you the dopamine, right? I mean, I knew this girl that her house was so clean all the time. And when I went over there, literally she just would clean, like, without even thinking about it. If there was a dish in the sink, she would just start cleaning it. Didn't matter what we were doing, how busy we were. If she saw it in the sink, she would just start cleaning it. And I started to realize that, like, she would clean as easily as I picked up my phone and checked my messages. Like, it was amazing how instinctual it was for her. because she built these dopamine pathways in her brain, and it kept reinforcing throughout her life that like I get dopamine from having a clean place instead of I get dopamine from avoiding this and just thinking I want a clean place and how can I plan to have a clean place and all this stuff, you know? So catching it in the process of when you start looping, labeling it like I'm ruminating right now, and then redirecting it. And one practical thing that I did was I actually set reminders on my phone. So every hour, I'm doing this until it becomes a habit for me to just do it regularly. But every hour on my phone, I have a message that comes in my phone and an alert that says, are you looping or are you building? And there's been many times over the past few days where I've caught myself and I'm like, I get the notification. I'm like, dude, what am I even doing? I'm just like scrolling on Instagram, or I'm just like looking at the TV. What am I doing? And I'll get up and like go do something productive. And it's so amazing how much stuff you can get done when you like catch yourself in these times where you're just sitting there doing nothing and thinking. And without the alerts, like who knows how many more hours would have gone by before I really noticed it. So that's one real practical thing that you can do. Another thing, and this is crucial, is taking actual breaks. Now, many of us, when we do some productive things, right, when we think of taking a break, a lot of us, it's like sitting on the couch and like scrolling on Instagram or something, or messaging people or something like that. That's not a real break. What that is your brain going back to the loop of getting that dopamine from doing something unproductive, right? Scrolling, thinking, distracting yourself. And it's constantly reinforcing that pathway in your mind to where it's like, this is where the good stuff's at. This is where I get my dopamine. Sitting here and doing nothing, basically, being static. And that's exactly what we want to switch into, you know, dopamine coming from productive things that actually set us up to be successful in the future. So when we take our breaks, it's crucial that we take a real break. And what does that look like? It looks like going on a walk, maybe doing like 10 push-ups. If you really want to lay down, like you're feeling tired, then lay down and close your eyes and just meditate, or like actually take a break, you know? Sit down, stretch, stuff like that. Stuff that isn't going to get you back in that dopamine loop of ruminating and constantly looping, right? So another key thing is, after the break, don't go back into intense work. And don't go into intense work in the beginning in general, right? We need to understand that we're beginners at this, right? We're complete beginners at this. I made this mistake so many times in my life where I would get motivation, and when I'm motivated, I can get so much done for like multiple hours, right? And I know a lot of you are the same way. And when we take so much time off from work because we're just basically screwing around and doing nothing, by the time we actually wake up to that and we get motivated, we want to get so much done. And we're so motivated to get it all done that we actually do a lot of stuff. We do a lot of productive stuff. We kind of catch up a little bit, right? But the problem is, when you're that motivated, sometimes you can work so hard and get things done so quickly to the point where you actually kind of like get to the point where you really do need a break and you're kind of burning out after a few hours. And then you go back into your looping dopamine problem, right? And it's good in the meantime, right? It's good in the short term because you got so much done and you're like, dang, I busted all that work out, like good for me. But the problem is, it reinforces in your brain how hard the work is, or it reinforces in your brain that work itself means intensity and difficulty. And that's what we want to avoid. Reinforcing that in your brain is probably the biggest reason why people avoid work to begin with. And I talked about this in my building habits video. It's like, The people that keep habits for a long time and keep these productive habits, they don't, the work doesn't feel intense to them, right? They just go do the things every day and it's like nothing. For example, don't let your dishes pile up for 2 weeks. So then by the time you got to clean out your sink and do your dishes, it takes an hour and a half to clean up your kitchen, right? And it's going to reinforce in your mind that doing dishes equals an hour and a half of work, because every time you've done it, it has equaled that. Whereas if you just wash your dish after every time you eat, it's maybe 30 seconds, 1 minute tops, and it's in the dishwasher, right? And over time, your brain, it likes to avoid these intense things and these really difficult tasks because it's just uncomfortable. Whereas something like cleaning the dish after you eat, it doesn't feel difficult because it's like 30 seconds, 1 minute of work. It doesn't feel like anything difficult in your mind. It's actually so not difficult to the point where you might not even really notice it. So then it reinforces in your brain that like washing dishes isn't hard, right? So the more you can, reinforce that in your brain, you won't avoid it as much, right? And the same goes with any other task. And that's why I want to really hammer this point home that like it's so crucial that you keep the work small and repeatable. Don't make it so intense and drawn out. It's so crucial. Don't work until you absolutely need a break. Just keep it small, keep it repeatable in the beginning, to the point where once you start getting used to that repeatable task and you start doing it consistently, then you can start to like increase the intensity a little bit, because you're so used to it that even increasing the intensity a little bit or doing a little more doesn't feel like much more work. And I try to always remember that if you're grinding super hard, then you're doing it wrong. And that was something I learned when I was playing soccer. Was like, dude, I used to run around chasing the ball, running the whole game, and I never touched the fucking ball. I never touched it. And it's like the best players would just kind of walk around, get in the right position, and the ball would come to them. And at that point, I started to realize, like, if you're working too hard, you're just doing it wrong. And the same with habits in your life. If you stay on top of these habits and you just do the small things every day, like, it shouldn't feel like a grind. It really shouldn't. Work should feel sustainable. And it's crazy how, like, in your mind you think, if I just get all this done in one day and then I take a long break, like, I got more done and like I did less work, but that actually feels like way more of a grind. And then you're constantly trying to catch up in life. You're constantly feeling bad about yourself because you're never caught up. You constantly have things that you need to get done, and it's just not a good way to live. And actually it causes you to want to just overthink even more, because now you have even more problems to think about, and it's just a bad cycle to get into. So the real key is just keep the breaks real, have a real break, and then come back to a small amount of work and keep it repeatable. Cut yourself off before it feels intense, right? As soon as you start to feel like, all right, this is becoming a good amount of work, just stop there. Stop early so that you can just reinforce in your mind, like, this is a normal habit and it's not hard to do, okay? And then another key thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about was your environment. Using environments as a structure to control your behavior and build new habits, right? So for me, I was having a lot of trouble like getting work done because my computer was right next to my bed and it's right next to my couch, right? Because I live in an apartment. So it's so easy for me, since the space that I'm working in is multi-use, it's so easy for me to just get caught in something else and doing something else and going back to that rumination loop that I've been trying to avoid. And I've actually been doing a good job of avoiding, but I started to realize that you want to use everything in your power to set yourself up for success and make it easier for yourself. Like for me, I generally don't like working at home unless I have like a completely separate space to work. And right now I'm in a 1-bedroom apartment, so it's just not possible in here. But there's little things you can do. You could set up a divider in your room. For me, I generally like to be in somewhat social areas, like with other people around, where it feels like I'm somewhat like in a social area, right? Cafes, I do the best in cafes more than libraries, but other people really like libraries. Even at the park, many of you know from your past experiences where you've done your best work. So whatever environment that is, try to just recreate that as much as possible, at least in these beginning stages of rebuilding these habits, because it's just going to make it so much easier and you're going to enjoy it so much more. And if you enjoy it, that's where the habits really come from. If you can learn to get dopamine and enjoy these productive sessions, that's when it's going to start really just becoming reinforced and becoming a habit in your life. And it's just going to exponentially grow from there, because the more you enjoy it, the more you do it, the more results you get. And then you're going to want to do it even more. And then it skyrockets from there, right? So use environments as a way to help you, stay in these habits, at least in the beginning. So the people that win are the ones who move quickly, right? The ones who get to decisions quickly and just get back to work. So many of these decisions do not matter. As soon as you wake up in the morning, you should be in offense. Constant offense, right? You don't want to be reacting throughout the day. Oh, something happened, now I gotta react. Something happened over here, now I gotta react. You want to be like, I'm going to do this right now, and I'm getting it done, and I'm not letting overthinking or constantly trying to figure out, is this the right path, get in the way, right? I'm just going to go do it, correct course if I need to, and then go that way, right? Just realize that dopamine from entertainment or thinking or ruminating, that's not the good stuff, guys. That's not the stuff you really want. The real good stuff, the stuff you're looking for, like the magic, it comes from the work. It comes from the dopamine that comes from the work, and a lot of times that work is less fun in the short term, but it pays off dividends in the long term, and that's where real happiness and growth is going to come from. So the more you can just get your dopamine from that and really catch yourself when you're wasting time and just realize, like, dude, what am I even doing? I'm just wasting time. Let me get back to something productive. It's going to change your life, guys. It's really changed mine, even over the past few days, since I had this epiphany. And it's amazing how, like, once you start to make this a habit in your life, you just start doing things without even thinking about it. Like this video, I literally just thought about it in my head, like, oh, I want to make a video about that. And I just sat down, wrote down some notes and started recording, right? In the past, I would have planned out the perfect background, taken a shower, fix my hair the best way I can, pick the right shirt, maybe the lighting. Dude, it doesn't fucking move the needle, okay? It doesn't matter, okay? Now I just sat down, recorded it, post, okay? Maybe it gets no views, maybe it gets a ton of views. That's more data that I can use to correct course in the future. But either way, I got to that data faster, I made that decision faster, and we're moving forward, right? So it's amazing how once you start to build this as a habit in your life, like, you just start doing work without that procrastination, because that procrastination and rumination it's so crippling, guys. It's so crippling. Dude, there was even a point in my life where, like, I wouldn't text people back for months. I'm not even kidding, like months, because I would avoid it so much because it felt like such heavy work to me because of my rumination issues. Like, I would overthink every text. I got to come up with the perfect response. How is it going to make them feel? How can I say this in the best way? It would take me like 2 or 3 minutes to respond to like a small text, and then I would have like a bunch of them, right? Because it's like I got 4 or 5 from this person, 4 or 5 from that person because I haven't responded in so long. I got another from this person, and that's just text. Now I got Snapchats, I got Instagram messages, I got Facebook messages. I mean, and then I built it up so much to the point where I would just avoid all of it. And that all came from my addiction to ruminating and just overthinking, right? Whereas now I just open the text and respond, dude. I just open it and respond and then move on. Maybe it wasn't the best. Maybe it was better than I thought it was, right? But the point is, it doesn't matter, right? 99% of the time, it just doesn't matter. It's not going to move the needle, so don't waste your time thinking about it. And it's just amazing how it's amazing how the more time I thought about it and I didn't act, worse things happened. I mean, I lost friendships from not texting people back. I lost, time, and I lost good conversation because, dude, it's like you're responding to my message a week later, like who even cares anymore, I lost respect, so many things because I wanted to try to be perfect and I overthought it so much, and it's amazing how this addiction can really just take hold of so many parts of your life and just destroy them. And just noticing it and being aware of it and catching it while it's happening, it's life-changing, guys. It's life-changing. The enemy is staying static, guys. That's your enemy. Constantly remind yourself, like, am I looping or am I building? Am I static or am I moving? And if you can just ask yourself that many times throughout the day until it becomes a habit, you're going to be more aware. And when you're aware and can catch yourself in these problems, like, that's going to be the game changer, guys. Just remember that speed to decision for most decisions should be as fast as humanly possible, because most decisions just don't move the needle. Like, you gotta move, dude. You gotta go. Make a decision, go. Your girlfriend wants to go somewhere to eat, pick somewhere, go. It doesn't matter, okay? It doesn't matter if you get sushi, Chinese, pizza, whatever, dude. Make the decision and go. Don't spend 30 minutes thinking about dumb shit. Don't spend 20 minutes looking at an outfit. Should I wear this? Should I wear that? Just pick something and go. Don't spend 30 minutes thinking about what you even want to do in the next hour, Pick something, go. The point is, speed to decision needs to be as fast as possible, right? Maybe you have a friend in your life or a friend that has been treating you like shit. You feel disrespected around them, or maybe you just don't even feel happy with them. Most people, they're gonna talk gossip to other people in the group. Hey, what do you think about this? They're gonna try to fix it for months on end, maybe try to get over it. Maybe they're gonna gaslight themselves into thinking that they're the one that's the problem, and then in the end they're gonna let go of the friend anyways. But the problem was they wasted months doing it, right? As soon as you get the data and you know what you need to do, boom, make the decision, act. Just do it now and move on. And don't get caught in those grief loops, okay? Because sometimes these decisions, although they're simple, they may be hard to do, okay? It may be a hard conversation. It may be letting some people go, right? But once you get that data, make the decision and move. Don't get caught back again in those rumination loops of like, oh no, did I do the right thing? Did I make the right decision? The things that are meant for you are gonna stay, right? If you really made a mistake, you can always apologize. You can try to correct it. Sometimes you can't get things back, okay? But that's okay, because the net positive from acting quickly is going to benefit you way more than the negative that comes from constantly overthinking these decisions. Yeah, at the end of the day, remember, no matter which path you take, when you're thinking about these decisions, you're not going to know the answer until you take that path. You're not going to know if it was the right path. You can debate it all day, all night, and there's more than one path to take, and you just got to choose, right? Just choose and take the path and correct course as you get more data, and that's it. No matter what you do, the work needs to be done, and thinking will never get it done, right? Looping and ruminating, it will never get the work done. Okay? Just remember that. It might give you a plan, and it's okay to think a little bit if you need a plan and you need to figure things out. But once you get that plan, just go. Get back to moving. And if thinking isn't giving you the answers you're looking for, then cut it off and keep moving anyways, okay? There's other things that you can get done, right? And just do what you know you need to do now until you do come to that answer, right? But anyways, yeah, like I said, guys, it's just, I know I'm kind of just rambling at this point. It's actually been a long video, but I appreciate you guys if you've stayed for this long. But like I said, it's just such a big epiphany that I've had in my life, and it's amazing how many things we do throughout the day that actually just don't move the needle and just don't matter at all. And we put so much like effort and thought into things that just don't matter at all, dude. Like, even down to this video. I was thinking before this video, I was like, should I like take a shower or like brush my hair a little bit or like put something in the background? But like, dude, it doesn't matter. This is an information video. Most of you are not here for that. Okay? It doesn't matter. It's not going to move the needle. Just start the video. Start recording. Okay? Little stuff like that. Once you wake up to it, you're going to start to see it everywhere in your life. It's amazing. Like, it's so amazing how much you catch it, and then you go back into productivity and you get so much stuff done. And then by the end of the day, you're like, dude, this is like I'm so locked in, but I actually enjoy it. And I don't want to get locked out. Because so many times, like, we feel like locked in means grinding, and that grinding is like painful, and we actually get addicted to that feeling of like, if it's not painful, I'm not doing something productive. But that's really not how it is. You know, once you really start to catch all the times that you're wasting your time, and you just get back to work, like, it starts to become addictive, guys. It really does. And it's kind of a beautiful thing because once you can get to that point where it's just like, I actually enjoy getting this stuff done, and it moves the needle so much. And I just wanted to wake you guys up to that if you're in the same boat. And yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like I said, 3 key takeaways are just catch the rumination early, label it, and start moving. Number 2, use environments as a structure to control your behavior and build these new habits. And then number 3 is keep the work small and keep it repeatable. And those are all crucial. But anyways, guys, yeah, I'm glad I was able to just talk about this and get it off my chest, because I really wanted to share it with you guys. It's been such a huge breakthrough in my life, and I appreciate any of you guys that have stayed till this point in the video. I hope I brought you guys some value, but yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.